like partied. And then when I got diagnosed, then it became more medicinal and more kind of directed. It lasted a few years, about 2-3 years after my diagnosis.
Right. Oh, so you were going at it pretty heavy the whole time.
Yeah, I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed in 91 or 90. I can't even remember now. And I quit drinking in 92. Ross Perot's birthday, June 28th.
But you had been building towards that. You were going to get there either way, probably.
They were saving a seat for me.
Yeah. Because I was trying to figure out, like, when you were shooting, Back to the Future and running back and forth to do Family Ties, I was like, how the hell did you do that?
That was just pure youth. I didn't need anything to get me going. I needed stuff to put me to sleep. So I drink beers on the way home.
Oh, okay.
Go to sleep and crash out and get up in the morning.
So you're always kind of wired.
I was like 23 years old and I was doing a TV series and a Steven Spielberg movie. So had a lot to juice me up.
Yeah. So like when I guess what this book is about is the sort of second kind of collapse of your sort of disposition in relation to all the work you've done on maintaining a disposition that got you through life, that it kind of got dark again.
Yeah.
And some of the tools that you had once relied on stopped working. But I guess in the first time, how much did you really draw from those ideas in recovery to kind of get you through?
Well, the big thing in recovery for me was always concept of acceptance and surrender.
Right.
It's just you're too big for me. You kick my ass, I give up.
Right.
Which doesn't mean, I always say, like, if you accept something, it does't mean you can't endeavor to change it.
Right.
But you have to accept it first. You have to deal with it as a fact. And I mean, it's like this fact deficit we've been dealing with in the country for the last 3 years. And we say, this is what it is. You lost.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, right.
This is the reality. Step up to it. Get into it.
Right.
So that was my kind of thing was that I had always with alcohol does what alcohol does, and it covers things up and buries it and gets it out of your mind. You're not thinking about it, and you remember it 6 months later. Oh,
right.
Whereas with this, just to give you a thumbnail of what happened, was I had Parkinson's for like 30 years whenever I was dealing with that. And that's just we like I said in the book, we kind of reached detente. It gave me the room to do what I wanted to do. It took the room that it needed to take from me. There were the losses, but there were gains. And then I had this spinal thing, this tumor on my back and my spine. I had to get that removed or I was going to be paralyzed. So, and there was a chance with the surgery I could be paralyzed, but I wasn't. I learned how to walk again. I had to learn actually the kinetics of walking again and mechanics. I still don't do it that well. But so I went through all this, and then I was feeling cocky. I got walking again. And I kept stressing every day I wanted independence. I wanted them to leave me alone and let me get better. And
yeah.
So I finally I conspired to have a night in my apartment by myself, and my family were on vacation. I was waking up the next morning to do a cameo in a Spike Lee movie, and a Spike Lee movie he was producing. And so I was all jazzed, and I got up in the morning, and I got out of bed, and I walked into the kitchen. I was feeling really good. I took a little spin on the tile.
Yeah.
And I went down, shattered my arm, shattered my humerus.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. That was the thing of all the stuff I dealt with. That was the thing that I was sitting on the floor waiting for the ambulance to come, just going, "What an idiot! What a fucking idiot!" How do you know? And then finally, I just went through this whole thing about where's all this optimism you preach to people. Like, how can you like say chin up? You know?
Yeah.
When this is broken arms, you level with misery. When people have on the misery index have so much worse.
Right.
And you're like saying, "You'll be okay."
Yeah.
Won't be okay. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm out of the lemonade business.
Yeah. It just seems like everything converged on that moment from, all the things that you had sort of framed a different way. It was just that moment where you kind of blamed yourself, and then it just collapsed from there.
Yeah, once it's on me, then I found it very easy to berate myself and go after myself.
Yeah, but it's amazing you held that off for as long as you did.
Yeah, I think knowing me, I'd get pissed at myself earlier.
Yeah, right. But like in the beginning, it was sort of amazing that you were able to rise. Like the way you talk about your wife Tracy it's just a profound relationship that, from the beginning, from that moment where, you've got your diagnosis, you've had tremendous success, you're relatively newly married, but you're listless and self-pitying and just, drowning yourself in booze. And it was a moment where she basically said, is this how you want to be?
Yeah, is this what you want? It was a horrifying moment. I was on the couch.
Yeah.
On the couch, we lived on the west side, so the sun was streaming in. I was on the couch, I was sweating. I had a Coors Tall Boy that spilled over on the carpet. It was on its side. My son was kind of climbing on me and poking me. He was 3 years old. And I kind of woke up and I saw my wife's feet. And then I looked up and I saw her go over to her face. I expected her to be really pissed at me, but she was just bored. She said, "Is this what you want? Is this what you want?" And in the instant I went, "No." And I was in a meeting 2 days later.
That's amazing. Like you were prepared for anger, which you could just that would just add to your self-pity. But the sort of the boredom, that was too much to handle.
Yeah, it's just like she was just over the whole floor show. She just was over it, and she was really frank about it afterwards. She said that moment, she said it's not what she wanted to do, but she was ready to go. Okay, we'll call this on account of pain.
But it's interesting that she comes from sort of a legacy of self-help, right? I mean, she comes from a family of self-helpers, right?
Well, of certainly of the personally motivated people that
right
accomplish and address issues.
Her brother is Michael, right?
Brother's Michael Pollan, yeah, wrote the Bible on hallucinogens.
And didn't he write something about food too? Am I missing?
He wrote a lot about food.
In the most recent book is the sort of microdosing of hallucinogens. Yeah.
It's a really cool book, and he wrote a book called, my favorite book that he wrote. It's called Botany of Desire, which is how it's a natural history science book about how plants manipulate us into making them better. Like apples, they played a whole game on us to make apples for apple cider, and we promulgated all these apple trees all over the place. And like marijuana, how it kind of, if you twist this, we'll get better. We'll get higher, and we'll get stronger.
Right. Yeah. It was all to serve the plants because they knew in their deep primal heart on a global level that they'd be left after us and they needed to survive.
They were screwing with us.
Yeah.
I love that book.
So the beginning, when she calls you out and you go to meetings and you get off the booze, and that sort of the idea of powerlessness is certainly a good place to start with sort of anything out of your control. Well,
not to scare anybody who wants to get sober, but you get sober, and then the first 2 years of sobriety are like a knife fight in the closet.
Yeah.
It's like, it's no fun. You trust no one. You believe no one. You're like, I would wear like the same thing. I wear jeans and a white T-shirt and just like sunglasses and just go and sit in the back.
Right. Angry. Fuck you people.
Yeah. It's just like, it gets better. Fuck you.
Yeah. That's that moment where, you finally share and you're pissed off and you hate everybody. And some old timer comes up to you and says, "You sound great. Keep coming back." You're like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, it's been a long time for me too. It's been like 21 years or something. Longer for you, I guess. Wow.
28.
Are you still in touch with people in the rooms, or?
Yeah, I still am.
Oh, that's great.
Not to the extent that I was, but I try to show up every now and then to get
a chip.
Get a chip and show a little gratitude.
And that was the sort of the interesting thing about this particular dark period that you went through after you broke your arm, was that that your gratitude somehow dissolved and you started to question the impact you had on other people by actually being optimistic and sort of proactive in living with your disease. That struck me as kind of interesting that you felt guilty somehow.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt that I had. I was going to feel that I have a lot of things in my life, and a lot of luxuries and a lot of perks.
Yeah,
that a lot of people don't get, and I try to keep that in my mind when I'm assessing my situation compared to other people's situations. So I started to think, well, how easy was it for me to say, "Oh, sure, I feel great, it's all good," and a lot of that is real. I mean, the most of it is real. I felt all of it was real until that moment under the phone, and then I went, "Oh no, there's another level here. There's another level of disquiet, another level of anger, and of not accepting it, like not being willing to accept it." So I said, "Oh, this whole new thing exists." and I got to look at this. I got to look at what I've been have I been offering up optimism as a panacea? Like, I was sincere in what I said, but it risked sounding glib,
Yeah, right.
So I kind of opened my mind and I said, I'm going to go through this next period and I'm just going to take notes and just like be aware of what I'm doing, when I'm watching on television, who I'm interacting with, what message I'm sending them, what message I'm getting back from them. And I just started the gratitude thing became a theme that I picked up on and realized that everything good came back to gratitude and this notion of optimism being sustainable when there's gratitude.
Right.
Gratitude is what makes optimism sustainable.
Right. And also I think like alongside of that realization or that questioning process, I mean, we're also in our mid to late 50s here. I mean, that's a natural. Yeah.
You're mid, I'm late.
I'm 57. I'm getting late.
Not much happens in the next 2 years.
No.
You go through a soul-searching crisis.
Exactly. Anyone does. Yeah.
That's what I recommend. Take notes and you get a book out of it.
Great. That's it's been a tough couple years, but I think that's also a natural time for you to go through that shit on top of whatever you were going through, right?
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Tracy. Well, of course you mentioned Tracy, but I got to think about it this morning. I was having a hard time walking this morning.
Yeah.
I was getting out of my house in Long Island and getting in the car, and she's helped me get down the stairs. And she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, it's life." She goes, "Yeah, tell me about it." And I said, "Yeah, you got a piece of this." That's right, you got a piece of this. it hit me, but you got winged, yeah. And I apologize for that. She's right. I realized that like what she does. People always ask me what she does and what's so cool about her, and why it works so well with us. And I think it's because, especially as relates to the Parkinson's, is that she can feel it. She can understand what I'm going through without assuming it and taking it on as something she's going through. She never makes me feel like, because I have it, she has it, and she has to. It's totally the opposite. She kind of goes, "I can understand it more fully than any other human being you know, but I don't understand it as well as you do." And she always allows me that room that I know, that extra little piece that she can't know, and she puts up with that.
Right.
I say, like, she got a piece of it, but
she has boundaries around it. That's good. I mean, if she was more codependent, you guys probably would have spiraled out years ago.
Yeah, we'd be like sitting together with blankets over our laps on the porch, waiting for someone to bring food.
Did she? But did she have that part of her? Did she have to go through that part of your process to kind of detach, or was it always natural that she had that ability to have the boundaries?
I think she learned it. I think she adapted.
Yeah,
I think she always had the predisposition to. I mean, she always, even when I was like spiraling out of control, like she gave me that edict, in a sense, an edict, a strong hint.
Yeah,
that I had to change my ways, and then after that it was cool. Like we had this thing. We had a son. Our son was 3, and I went up to the time that he was about 5 or 6. I said, "Do you want to have another baby?" And she'd go, "Are you out of your mind? That's ridiculous."
Yeah.
I didn't have another child. And then one day she came and said he could use a brother or sister. And then we had twins like a year later. Right? It's kind of cool. It was a nice validation.
Yeah, and then you had another one. Now you got a full crew.
We had 4. No, they're great.
Yeah.
They're all adults now too, so they're great. They even know under shit. Yeah. They're all smarter than me.
Well, that's good. And it seems like you all get along, and like that was really a heartbreaking part of the struggles that you're entering in midlife, was this idea that, when you see yourself as a liability or as a chore,
yeah,
and have to kind of weigh that stuff against it, because I would think that in thinking that, it's almost selfish to think that in terms of how your loved ones love you. So like it must be a very difficult balance to sort of navigate that.
Yeah, it's hard to explain why you're outside of personality, that's outside of who the people are to you. Just natural kinetic coming together. When you're in a certain place and someone wants to help you, or assist you, or grab you, or touch you, or move you, or help you, or it's just you're like, fuck off.
Yeah,
leave me alone.
Right.
And then you have to think it through and think, well, I see where they're coming from, and I see what they need from this, and I see what I get from it, and I have to admit that I get from it, and then we can go forward. But it takes some adjusting,
Yeah.
because people